this. Look out. Okay, I need to know about clave, its origin. Don't tell me clave is two sticks that you hit together. It's true, but it's not what I want. And how it's used in Afro-Cuban music. Remember, clave is the foundation of all Cuban-based music, or all Cuban music. I need to know about rumba. Or does they say here rumba? Remember, rumba has 3 genres. Yambu, Wawanko, Colombia. Hi, Mom. I need to, each one, in a nutshell, describe what rumba is. Remember, Yambu is what? Do we know?
Type of rumba. Mimics the
Actions of an old people.
Mimics
Yes.
the movements of old people. It's played exclusively on
cajones.
cajones. Don't say cojones. It's cajones. Boxes. Okay. Estelita's getting a kick out of this. She's probably gonna, I'll probably find this on YouTube. And you know what? I don't care. And each one has particular characteristics. Yeah. So remember, Huahuanco has the vacunao. It's called the vaccination. And Colombia, remember, is solo male dancer. Yeah. And quinto soloist. I need to know. Remember, there were specifically 4 antecedents or predecessors to Cuba. They were the most significant musical cultures. Remember, Yoruba, Bantu, Dahomey, and Carabali.
Yoruba.
Bantu, Dahomey, not Dahomey, yo, what up, word, and Carabali, not Carabali. Spelling, I won't take off for spelling. Unless you spell Wawanko like LCXZWVL.
Exclamation point.
That's wrong.
Q.
Not WANWANCO.
Wawanko.
Wawanko.
La mierda.
Just spell it as best you can. You know, spell it, phonetically. Or I need to know about Guido, where it's from. It belongs to one of the 4 antecedents. Guido, yeah, the music for Chequere. What it features. Remember that Guido is totally original and totally Cuban, even though they have Chequeres in Africa. I found in my research that there were no groups that played Chequere. There were Chequere groups, but not that played specific parts like they do in Guido, where one soloist and the other play accompanying parts. So what I saw was Chequere playing the same thing, and these things called, I think, aro. They're 2 round pieces of metal. Look like circles that had a slit in them. And they just slam them together like this. Clunk, 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 and they go or Chequere. And they basically kept the same thing. One would do a little bit of a solo, but my theory about Guido is that when those instruments got to Cuba, they finally made them there. Found whatever plant material that they copied what the Yoruba were doing. They copied what the Arara were doing. In other words, the low drum is going to solo. The other 2 drums play supporting parts, and that's what they do in most Afro-Cuban music. The low drum is except for rumba. Remember, rumba is the exception. The highest drum is the soloist. It's the only one. Everybody else, bata, caja, all drums. The bongo and chimilla and abacua is sort of in between a couple of the drums. So everybody else, the lowest drum is the soloist. That's from Africa. Yeah. I need to know about bata. Yeah. I don't need to know about different tokes or the 23 odisha that are saluted and colors and all this. I need to know the 3 drums and their function. The okonklo, sets the time, keeps time. Remember, the iya converses with the segundo, or the totale. And there's various calls. Again, call and response. And the iya, the mother drum, is the one that talks and actually initiates the conversations. I need to know about bembe. Yeah, same thing like Guido. Bembe is from a particular musical culture. I need to know about abacua. I want it in a nutshell, not any long, drawn out, it's a male secret society. Each person has a function. There's a set of sacred drums and a set of secular drums. Remember, there are books written on Abakwa, but we don't need to know that much. The first paragraph that's in the book will suffice. You don't need to know about Anafuruana, all the symbols. You see the X, the arrow with circles and another dial. I mean, all that means something. It's like a language. And I cannot even come close to knowing what all that stuff means. If you were ever going to do a paper on it, I could give you all the books that you would need. I just haven't read them all yet. That's for my next pot of coffee. I need to know about Makuta and Yuka. We didn't get a chance to do that. They're also from a particular culture. I need to know about contributions that the Africans made that became a part of Afro-Cuban music. For example, like instruments, what we know of as conga drums, originally from Bantu, call and response, the idea that the lead voice, the low drum, is the improviser, the idea of a timeline, the idea of polyrhythm, two rhythms at the same time. And a polyrhythm is all that polyrhythm means is two rhythms at the same. It doesn't mean 3/2 or 4/3. It can mean it's just two different rhythms. But there's a lot: drum sizes and shapes, the Bantu language, a lot of things that are African that are now still part of Cuban culture. Yeah. I need to know about music from Dahomey. So Carabali is Abakwa. Dahomey is Arara, Tuma Francesa. Yeah, stuff that comes from, Arara is from Occidental, from Havana, from Matanzas, but in Oriente, Arara is Tuma Francesa. I need to know about voodoo. Yeah. I need to know about, again, when I say I need to know about, just a brief history of voodoo. Remember voodoo is played like it was like it is played in Haiti. Remember there was a couple of Haitian migrations in Cuba. And on the last one, they brought in more of the experts on Haitian music and sort of cleared up some misconceptions that had gone along for many, many years. But they still play Gaga. They still play what they call Rara in Haiti. It's Gaga in Cuba. And they play Tumba Francesa, French influence. They play Nago. They play Yambalu. They play a lot of that Eliance. They play a lot of the court music. Eliance, waltz. They still play that music, albeit it's been creolized. It's been Haitianized, Cubanized, which is what they did with Tumba Francesa. If you've ever seen it's a court dance, and you look in how it's dancing in pairs, and the men dance like this with a little white handkerchief. It's very elegant, and the women dance hand in hand. But then you look at the music, you look at those drums, and they got big barrel drums with a string across it and a little bead here. So when you move the bead towards the center, it gives more of a buzz on the drum. So imagine the string here across, and if the beat is here, it will buzz minimally. When I move it more in here, it's going to buzz. Just like there's a Mexican drum, the Tarahumara, from the Tarahumara people, has the same thing. It's a big frame drum like this, about this thick, and on one side there's a string and a little bead. And again, the Africans were trying to imitate the military snares by doing that. They couldn't, they didn't have metal that they could fancy so they did what they could get. They got strings and a bunch of beads. It's the same effect. You get a bunch of beads, or you get a bunch like a keychain to put on a cymbal, and it buzzes. So, same thing when you hear some of the tokes that they play, and they go with the hands, they go. They're imitating